Okay, what's up, everyone? I just wanted to get on here and talk a little bit about this rankings list that we put out last week. Um, a lot has, I'm not gonna say a lot has happened, just we've realized a lot of things after the fact. I've tweaked a lot of things, and I just kind of want to get into words like the reason for putting out this list. Number one, I'll be totally transparent. It was just something I thought would be cool for the channel. Um, Rankings always spark discussion, and discussion is never a bad thing. But I guess I'm just the unfortunate soul who decided to try to tackle the state rankings this time because over the years, many people have tried, many people have failed. Um, but I thought it'd be interesting. And I do want to kind of kick things off by throwing this out there. I am not doing these rankings to in any way take away from what Brothers in Arms is doing in the state, because they are really the only one that are consistently putting on events here in the state. There's a small kind of event that goes on at the um, State Fair in Oklahoma City. There's one in Tulsa every year, but Brothers in Arms and that group, Brandon and Kyle and their dad, are the only ones that put on events kind of throughout the year. And they do have their own list that they kind of keep track of through their events. Um, and I think it's great because, like I said, they're the only ones that are consistently putting on events throughout the state. Usually four that I can think of off the top of my head. Usually one or two in the spring, then one or two in the summer, then one in the fall, maybe. So four or five events throughout the year. So, because I'm not, I'm not putting on events. I'm not hosting matches. I'm not dealing with call outs. I just want to do the events from the standpoint of like a power rankings perspective. I know I've mentioned that in videos before. If any of you guys are familiar with the NFL, NBA, they do power rankings essentially every week, just kind of based on how teams do week on a week to week basis. And I'm going to share my screen here and kind of show you guys what I mean by power rankings. Um, and it's not even the leagues themselves putting them out because obviously each league has their own official standings. And it's really just personalities like people on ESPN, Fox Sports, just kind of different sports groups around the nation. They'll just kind of rank the teams how they see them. Um, so there is a subjective standpoint to these rankings here on the channel. We'll try to obviously include everyone we can. That's kind of the idea. Because as great as the Brothers in Arms list is, there's a lot of kind of missing pieces there from guys that may not make it out to their tournaments. And that was really just kind of my whole goal all along was to build the most complete list of pullers around the state. A lot of people may not like the way I or we rank these pullers, but I just want to get all the names on one list because a lot of lists in the past they have left a lot of people out. So I'm just trying to fill in all the gaps. But anyways, what power rankings are, I'm going to share my screen here. So this is an example of what power rankings are. So all of the teams here, these are old kind of NFL power rankings, but this gives you kind of an idea. All the teams are here. Um, these dashes means they didn't move from week to week. The green arrow means this team moved up. Red arrow means the team moved down. And that's kind of what I want to do with this list. Kind of as we see things go on in the state, events, whatever, we'll move people up and down. It's going to be very fluid because there will be guys that you get ranked at the top and they pull once a year and there's no movement. To me, that's kind of boring, although the person may deserve to be number one. This will just create a lot more fluidity. And like I said, it's one guy's or a few guys kind of perspective on how they see things in the state. But that's kind of the idea here with power rankings. I'll show you some other examples. So kind of like I just said, all the teams are ranked. So New Orleans, they moved up one spot this particular week. Tampa Bay moved down a couple spots this week, or this particular week. Dallas didn't move that week. And all kind of power rankings are essentially the same thing. Oh, this is an old one here. Carolina was 13-0. That must have been when they had Cam Newton. Patriots moved up 2 spots that week. Yada yada. You guys kind of get the idea here. Teams are ranked. Cowboys jumped up 5 spots. So on the list, I want to have everybody ranked, normal kind of 1 through 10, and then off to the side based on movement. Green up arrow, red down arrow, yada yada. I'm going to bring up, this is kind of the draft of the graphic because I'm making a graphic. I just want it to look cool. It's been kind of done in the past where there's just a Facebook post that gets kind of continually updated and it's just text. But I want it to look cool. Mostly just my OCD. And I like kind of messing with these sort of things. So I'm going to bring up this graphic and it may kind of evolve and change, but this is pretty much the base kind of graphic we're going to start with. And I'll kind of explain to you guys how that will work and how that will look. Start sharing my screen again. Okay, so here we go. This is what it looks like. The official, unofficial Oklahoma Arm Wrestling Power Rankings. Kind of move me out of the way there. I say official, unofficial because kind of tongue in cheek. Initially, I had OKAY Oklahoma Power Rankings on here because I want it to be kind of serious, but on the other hand, I don't want people to take it too serious. Like I said, it's one guy or a few guys on a podcast just kind of ranking guys how we kind of see, just kind of how we see things at that current time in the state. But I just wanted a cool graphic, so I just come up with this the last few days. I still need to tweak it a little bit, but this is kind of your basic idea. 176, 198, 242, and supers. So obviously you're going to have pullers on each line, their number, rank, yada yada. This column for movement, that's the green up arrows, red down arrows, gray dash for no movement. That's where that's going to go. I may add another column in here for like if people do move, just show like what they were previous before they moved, or have like a column for like kind of a historical high low. Like the highest this person's been is 2, the lowest this person has been is 8. I don't know, still kind of tossing around ideas there. And then at the bottom of each weight class are all these guys that are on the bubble. Because really once you get past 10 and even kind of including 10, 11 through 15 or 11 through 20, whatever, the majority of those guys are going to be fairly close. So all of those guys will just, and kind of for the sake of saving space also. So all those guys will just get thrown into this on the bubble. That way their name, even though they're not ranked on our list, they're still kind of on the graphic and mentioned. Because some people, although they may not be top 10, they deserve to be at least on the graphic. And then we have this box here in the middle, notable mentions. That's going to be guys that we know are good, and that will probably come a lot from my brain. Considering the brains on the podcast, I've been in and around the sport in the state a lot longer than those guys, so I'll just know names that they may not necessarily know. So guys that I know have been really good in the past, I just haven't heard much about them recently, or they got injured and been out a while, or they may have changed weight classes. It's just basically guys that I know have been really good in the past. It's just I may not know kind of where they sit currently, but they deserve to at least get mentioned until we do kind of find a spot to put them in a class or whatever. So this is basically what it's going to look like. And I'll get the names all in here. Still kind of moving, shaking stuff around. And again, I want to keep reiterating these. Like I'm kind of torn between wanting to be taken super serious and also kind of wanting to be a little more lighthearted of a list. That's why I kind of chose to go with the power rankings. These are by no means some official mail it in to some national or international person. These are not some official list. Like I said, and try to keep reiterating, these are just some rankings that a few dudes came up with on the fly on the podcast. But with that being said, one thing I do want to do eventually is because myself and a couple of the guys, we are way out in Western Oklahoma, and another guy kind of from Central. But as many names as we have come up with so far, we miss out on a lot of names. We may not see everything that's going on. Um, so what I want to do is I'm not going to tell people who these other people are, but I want to eventually include um, guys from kind of around the state in different spots. Um, Say I'll get a guy in Tulsa. Hey, get on here, make your top tens out of all these classes. And then a guy from down south in Ada. Hey, give me your top 10, rank these guys for me. And then a guy from Central Oklahoma, then us out here west, obviously. And what I want to do is average all of those different rankings together. And that's what I'll put on the graphic. You won't know. I'll just keep updating. I'll never say a word as like if we start getting other people to give us their rankings. Um, I won't say a word. I'll just keep updating the graphic because I do want there to be kind of an air of secrecy around this thing. Like how do they come up with their rankings? What are they basing it on? Yada yada. Um, because I don't want to get a bunch of names out there and then guys get mad at other people for, bro, why'd you rank me like this? Yada yada. Because ultimately, this is my channel. I'm putting it out on my channel. I've got my name all over this thing, my podcast logo on the graphic. So ultimate responsibility falls on me, and I'm willing to embrace that. Um, I have just been kind of saddened every time I see rankings, someone try to get a rankings thing kind of off the ground. It has a lot of hype right at the beginning, and then people get mad, and the people that started the rankings just get fed up with it, don't want to do it anymore, which I totally understand. That's why I'm trying to keep this as unserious and goofy as possible while still trying to hold some legitimacy just by having every name that we can think of on this thing. Um, it's going to change and evolve and adapt, and people will love the rankings or they'll hate the rankings or they'll hate and then love it or love then hate it or feel indifferent. But for me, it's just kind of a cool side project for a while, and hopefully something that we can continue. Um, I just see kind of other states, they have their rankings, really cool graphics. And at times, our state can be kind of disorganized when it comes to this sort of thing. Um, People from out of state, they can't find rankings on us anywhere. And when they do, they're incomplete. So maybe this will also kind of help create more of a legitimacy for our rankings. But like I said, I just want this to be super lighthearted. Um, and I know people will be unhappy with it. Um, but we're going to do the best we can. And I just wanted to get on here and kind of create this and show kind of the idea, the thoughts that are kind of swirling right now, and what I want it to look like going forward. Hopefully, this kind of helped explain a lot of things to you guys. I'm not sure when we're going to have everything filled in, but this will kind of prep you for when we do finally get everything filled in. Um, and like I said, I want to reiterate, um, this is by no means trying to replace or mess up anything with Brothers in Arms because they, like I said, they're the only ones really consistently doing anything in the state. And the amount of time and effort it puts or it takes to create those events, put those events on, organize those events, it would be an absolute nightmare. So all the credit in the world to those guys. If anything, maybe people can see this list, see a guy they want to call out, and then y'all go have those matches at Brothers in Arms at their events because they're great events. And I personally want no part of putting on events. This is merely going to be, I guess, similar to maybe the on the hook, in the hook, on the hook, in the hook rankings that Chance Shaw does on Facebook, where he essentially just watches everything that goes on and just kind of adjusts stuff on the fly. I'm merely an observer. Just look at me as a sports analyst from ESPN or Fox Sports that puts out their take on rankings for the sport. It's not official by any means. The title says the official, unofficial, and I think that kind of sums it up pretty well. We're gonna do the best we can, guys. I know not everyone's gonna be happy, and I can't I can't kind of reiterate that enough. But at least we got a cool graphic, even if the information on the graphic nobody likes. But anyways, I just want to get on here. This video ended up being longer than I wanted it to be, but hopefully this explains kind of the idea going forward. And this graphic itself may change a little bit, like aesthetically, but I think the basic function of the graphic will kind of remain the same. I'm excited to finally get this going, and it'll hopefully continue to evolve, keep that conversation going because, like I said, rankings less in the past, hype is big at the beginning, and then it dies off. This is something I kind of want to keep going. I don't know. I may get to a point where I'm just mentally exhausted with it and don't want to deal with it myself. But in the meantime, this is what we got. Hopefully it only keeps getting better from here. But I hope you guys are at least kind of excited to see what it looks like initially. And hopefully the rankings are kind of generally fair enough to everyone. They're not going to be perfect. They never will be perfect. But yeah, we are going to do our best, and I hope you guys can at least appreciate it for that. Anyways, I'm done with this video. I've been on here a lot longer than I wanted to be. So y'all have a good evening, and we'll talk to you guys soon.